Hey, what up? What up? This is Kylan Watson coming to you live along with Amina on the Crossover Sports Podcast, episode 99. Apologize for the lateness. Kind of got caught up. Back at school, got caught up. My roommate and I were playing a game and I totally lost track of time and forgot. But here we are, episode 99. One more episode. Next week is episode 100. But right now, I'm rocking out with Amina. It's the controversial duo in the building. Go ahead and reintroduce yourself, Amina.
Hi everyone, it's Amina reintroducing myself. It's our last double digit episode because next week starts the triple digit episodes. So look forward to what we have. We're going to be planning throughout the week for episode 100. We got a few good topics to talk about today, and I hope everyone's enjoying their long weekend. Some people have off from work on Monday, but I don't. So I get holiday pay. So that's extra win for me. But we can get started whenever Kylan is ready.
Ooh, no school this weekend. I am chilling. So it's the first and last 3 day weekend I'll ever have up here. So I am chilling like a villain. All right, but anyway. All right, guys. As we always start the show, it's been a while. I'm in school. Some people have taken over control and they've eliminated the crossover hot take. So those of you that have been original fans, you know that we do crossover hot takes with our first three questions, but that no longer exists. So our first question today is about Michael Kendricks and his insider trading scandal. Those of you that don't know, Michael Kendricks, he is a former Eagles player who now plays for the Cleveland Browns, as well as a former Brown too. He was charged with insider trading. He collected about $2 million off of insider trading. And for those that don't know what insider trading is when you get information from illegal sources, usually from a broker or somebody that you have on the inside of another company. This is when you dump stocks or get stocks because you know something's about to happen before it happens, and so that's illegal. That's what Michael Kendricks was charged with and admitted to. So, Amina, what do you think about this? You not Eagles fan?
Hey, that's not fair. I'm born and raised in Philly. I support the hometown team. But there's another team out there that got my heart. I love both teams. It's not fair. Anyway, um,
No, I'm playing. Go ahead and talk.
Michael Kendricks, former Eagles, also now former Browns from Cleveland. Um, I didn't hear much about it up until the people that are diehard Eagles fans I know started blowing up social media about it, and they were talking about it. From what I heard, he got what I gathered, some classified information from the Eagles franchise from a third party source. So it was like a group effort, so to speak, and he used it for his own, in air quotes, advantages per se. With the team he got traded to, which was the Cleveland Browns, who no longer employed him either, and used it for evil, dirty work as far as trying to so-called better the team, and um, what's the other term I want to use? Try to use what the Eagles did to win games, I think, as well, to give that leverage to the Browns. That's what I gathered from the whole situation. Michael Kendricks, that's messy. That's wrong. That's not ethical. It's not moral. It's not. It doesn't show that you have values and principles in life. It shows that you were never really a team player when you were with the Eagles organization here in the city of Philadelphia. It shows that you had a vindictive vendetta against the Eagles organization and that you were just doing shady stuff. it's unfortunate because we really don't hear too much bad throughout the years coming from either organization, the Eagles or the Browns. So for something of this to happen, it's like, yo, it causes people to stop and have conversations about it. And they have been having conversations about it since it broke in the media. Um, it's not good. Like, it's like working for McDonald's. So, just to give an example, it's like working for McDonald's. They let you go or you quit or whatever you do, and you go to work for Burger King, and you're giving McDonald's secrets of how they do their sales, their products, and whatever to Burger King executives at their headquarters, and it it comes out that you did, and you try to cover it up and whatnot. Of course, you're gonna get in trouble because when you get hired at a job, they tell you to be honest. Like, don't be telling people, especially our competitors, information. Don't be writing certain stuff on social media. Don't be posting things somewhere. Keep your mouth shut. Be loyal to the cause. Like, it shouldn't happen. And I don't know what exactly is in the fine print of these NFL contracts that these players sign on these teams, but I'm pretty sure that at the end of the day, there's some clause in these contracts where it's illegal to do what you did. And from what I see, you're starting to pay for it because the Browns let you go, and you're the one that was giving them information. So you lost double with that. So I wouldn't personally, for the other 30 NFL teams, I would not trust this dude, no matter how good or bad he is on the football field with stats or accomplishments. I would not trust him. I would not sign this dude to a contract to another team so he can do that to you all either. Like, he's shown that he can't be trusted or counted on. He's shown that he has no loyalty, and that when the going gets tough, he throws in the towel, and that he just is a snake. He's a security risk that for things. If this was the medical healthcare world, he'd be violating HIPAA laws and have his degree, his licenses stripped from him. It's serious in certain endeavors with careers out here when you do things like that. It's unacceptable, dude. You should do better. You're an adult. You should know better. But it's the NFL, so it's to be expected. They don't do positive, productive things. Most just about every football player out there. It's just the culture, just a mess. But Michael Kendricks, good luck with a new career because you can't be counted on or trusted in the NFL anymore. You've shown that you do undercover stuff. So no other team in their right frame of minds should have any desire to sign you at this point. So find something else to do in your life. But Kylie can go. So sign off.
I mean, where to begin on this? Michael Kendricks. I mean, Michael Kendricks was a great player for us. He did a lot for us, but at the same time, it's just like, but at the same time, it's just like he was on Hard Knocks saying they had more talent in their linebacking core. I want to quote him exactly. They had they had more talent in their linebacking core, which might be a little bit true, than the Eagles did. And now he talked all that trash about the Eagles. You know, they got their little baseball score win in preseason, right? He talked all that crap about the Eagles, and now this bull turns out is doing insider trading and admitted to it. I mean, okay. I like Michael Kendricks. He was a great player, a rough rider for us. But at some point, man, it's not good to admit that you just got subpoenaed. You're not arrested yet, but you just admitted to insider trading. Now, I don't know if you know. Now, I don't even know what the minimum is for insider trading, but I think it's about 2 to 5 years, depending on what you're convicted of. And you're a black man with a lot of money. I would be careful with my money. These athletes, they have other people that handle their money, get them in trouble and everything. And so that's what happens. It's not like you don't just walk into insider trading. A lot of times insider trading happens because you're trusting shady people with your money. And a lot of times these NFL players, they only spend like a year, 2 years max in college. They don't really pay attention. A lot of them just have a high school education, maybe a year or two of a college education. And that's not enough to teach you how to manage money correctly. I mean, I've had, 16 years of schooling, and even I can't, and even, my best money tips I didn't learn in school. I learned from my father. So a lot of times you pick up what your parents have. And a lot of times these athletes don't have nothing. So when they get their money, they don't know what to do with it. So they're trusting shady people. And that's how you get insider trading. Because it wasn't just him. They got somebody who was a writer for Blackish too. They were trusting the same person with their money. And they got into insider trading. And it didn't turn out well for them. And it didn't turn out well for them. So, you gotta do what you gotta do. And unfortunately for him, he's probably gonna end up going to jail. Well for him. It's not gonna end well for him. But at this point, the Browns released them. The Eagles traded them. They tried to do the best they could for him, and it didn't work out. So, just make better decisions. Athletes, football players. I don't know what it is about these football players and why they need to do it's like they don't know what to do when they're not on the football field. Don't know how to live life. Don't know how to take vacations. I don't really know what it is, but these teams, they have to do something. They got to get a program. Maybe they need summer football. I don't know. Maybe they just need to not have an off season in football. Maybe they just need to just do something else, because these athletes, man, they're always in trouble, especially during the off season. I don't really know. They can behave during the season, but they can't behave in the off season. It's a very peculiar event that happens in football. Everybody else has a life off the field. Every other athlete, except for football players, and it's not all of them, but it's like a couple players that ruin it for the minute. Everybody else can enjoy the off season. Other football players, marquee football players, except for it's always these football players with a lot of potential that end up getting in trouble and doing dumb stuff. And this is a big crime, insider trading. I mean, you really have to be stupid to do this. So, I hope it turns out well for Michael. I wish him well. He's a former Eagle, so I don't wish too badly on him. But this speaks to your judgment, man. Athletes, especially big money athletes, have to trust, have to be wise with their money and trust the right people. Otherwise, you're gonna end up like Michael Kendricks. Moving right along, Manu Ginobili, retired today, or not today, but this week. It's the end of an era in football. We have a lot. He's been playing since like 98, 99, has had almost a 20-year career. And, it's just sad to see him go. But, Amina, what's your thoughts on that? Go ahead and talk about the career of Manu Ginobili.
Yes, I'm proud of him. You're right. He's been playing basketball professionally for just about 2 decades, just about. But for the NBA, he's been playing for the Spurs since 2002. So he's got four of the Spurs five titles under his belt. He wasn't there with them for the first one. So what I have to say about Manu Ginobili is that he, in my opinion, was a pillar of that community with the San Antonio Spurs for the greater part of my childhood. I mean, he came to the franchise when I was probably either in the third or fourth grade. So that's been a long time. So I grew up in my middle school, high school, and college years seeing him play with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker. Then when Kawhi Leonard got drafted, when I graduated from high school, when he joined their team, and the chemistry of this team has been superb and like no other. Like you don't get a team like what the San Antonio Spurs have been for the last 21 years, but once every generation in sports. So, in my opinion, this team has had longevity, consistency. This team has had respectability, no drama, respectful, and are very hardworking men that have been these rosters for the last 21 years since this dynasty started with them, so to speak. And for him to retire, it ends that. Tony Parker is no longer on the team. Tim Duncan is no longer on the team. Kawhi Leonard is no longer on the team. And so it's just it's beautiful how this team was able to stay together for as long as they did and to build what they did together. And 5 titles in a 15-year span of time. And for him to contribute to the team and win 4 of those, it I gotta give it to him. Like he's a part of the San Antonio Spurs history. They need to retire his jersey number like they did for Tim Duncan. And I wish him nothing but the best. I mean, he's part of NBA history. When you think about this 21-year history of the Spurs for this dynasty, you're always going to remember that he was 1/3 of that group, that 1/3 of that trio. It was Manu, Tony, and Tim. They were always together. And I always saw them together when I was watching basketball growing up. And the fact that I'll never see them again ever, the three of them play together, it's bittersweet, but it's life, you know. Everything has a sunrise and a sunset. And, and it was time. I think that the coach Greg Popovich, I think he's going to eventually retire as well because he's been coaching since '96, the team. So put almost 23 years worth of miles in with Texas. So I don't know how many more years he has left, but he's done with most. I can't recall any NBA coach who's gotten the team they coach all their titles. I don't think there is one besides Coach Pop, and he got Coach of the Year 3 times. Like Spurs, they're one of the top 5 teams in the NBA, in my opinion. Manu, I wish you well. Like you really deserved it. You put the time, energy in. You put the practices in. You went to summer workouts year after year. You really put the work in. I just looked on Instagram for the last about week, or since he announced that he's going to retire. He announced it earlier this week. And I see nothing but love being given to this man. And that's what it's all about. Love and basketball. It's nothing supposed to be hard-hearted. Like San Antonio Spurs, they're officially in rebuild mode now, but that happens when Dynasty's in. But it's it's a great send off. I mean, and I wish him well. Kylan?
Manu Ginobili, Manu Ginobili. Manu Ginobili. You know, he was, you know, I loved him in the beginning when he first came over here. Many people don't know he was the innovator of the Euro step. Him and Tony Parker innovated the Euro step before James Harden. He was a great all around blue collar player who fit right in the San Antonio Spurs basketball. He was a great player, you know, he's a Hall of Famer. He always was a good bench player, a good six man who earned his way into the starting lineup. He was the everyman player that everybody liked. You know, Manu Ginobili, you know, like I said, what a great player. And you know, I've been saying, Amina's finally arrived to my point, but I've been saying since they lost Kawhi Leonard and Tim Duncan a year ago that the Spurs have been in rebuild. You know, they are now, like she said, officially in rebuild mode. But you know, since they lost Kawhi Leonard a couple weeks ago, they've always been in rebuild mode. And as you've seen, once they got rid of Kawhi Leonard, it was about that time. I mean, you have to understand that Tim Duncan was the glue that held that together. And without Tim Duncan, a lot of things fell apart. Like the fact that, you know, honestly, and I love Manu Ginobili, like it really is his and Tony Parker's fault. And this has been confirmed that Kawhi Leonard is no longer on that team because they were the one that questioned his toughness with the permission of Greg Popovich. And, you know, for everything that Manu Ginobili did to be quoted down to that, to be the innovator of the destruction of the Spurs is just a bad look for him, you know, and Tony Parker, you know. But Manu Ginobili, like I say, was a great player. He'll have a great legacy, except for that. You know, he was a defender. He did everything that you needed on that team, you know, and sometimes he did it to a fault. You know? Sometimes he definitely did it to a fault, like as I just said, what happened with Kawhi Leonard. But you know, he was a great player, and his legacy will be missed. Like Amina said, it'll be the first time since 98-99 that we will not see him on the basketball court. And not seeing that man on the basketball court is unfortunate because, you know, like I said, he was a great player, one of the great shooting guards, a great six man. He was, like I said, the everything player. And Mina said it best. I mean, it's going to be a sad time in basketball to see him. Now the last vestiges of the 90s and early 2000s basketball is just Dirk Nowitzki, Vince Carter, Dwayne Wade. You know, everybody's retiring. And at a certain point, we're going to have to understand that the late 90s, early 2000s era of basketball will be dead in a while. Once Dwayne Wade, Jason Terry, and Dirk Nowitzki retires, and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker are like the last vestiges of the 90s, 2000s basketball that we're used to, that we all grew up on. But like I said, Manu Ginobili was a great player, was an everyman. He was a leader of the San Antonio Spurs. He fit right in. You could really tell that he was a blue-collar guy, even though he was from Argentina, Central America. He was very relatable to the San Antonio way of life. To the Pennsylvania, he had a boy from Philadelphia appreciates how blue collar he was, and I wish that instead of being a Spur for life, he had a chance to be a Sixer or something else. But he embodied that city. He embodied Argentina. He was a great ambassador for the NBA. One of the reasons why the NBA is as international as it is because he never forgot where he came from, and it's unfortunate. But I wish him well in his future endeavors. So moving right along to breaking news that happened this morning. that Amina has said her piece about, but she needs to say it again for the people. Get on the record saying it. Say it with your chest, Amina, because there's a certain person in Raiders Nation who's saying, like Aaron Rodgers, relax. That y'all don't need Khalil Mack. That y'all not gonna go 4-12 now. That y'all defense is gonna be fine. And I'm gonna let Miss Muhammad Raiders fan tell you why she is on her Aaron Rodgers and is telling Raiders Nation to relax, even though they lost their best defender. Amina, you have the floor. Go ahead. Tell them about how you feel. Get on the record. 2:47 East Coast time. 11:47.
You are being weird right now.
Go ahead and tell them how you feel. Tell them why you should trust the process and trust in Chucky. Go ahead. Tell them.
Don't associate Sixers with my football team, okay? We're not gonna do that. Okay, Khalil Mack, who's just about until he's officially signed with the Chicago Bears. He will. I can't even say he's our former yet, but pending defense player. He was a great team member, chemistry wise, and he got all he allowed us to win the games that we did. As far as when defense contributed to those wins, he won defensive player of the year 2 years ago when he was at peak, in my opinion. But he kind of fell off since then, and it showed last season and the season before that. But how this worked out when I really looked at the situation, since Kylan and I talked about it off air this morning, and since then, as well as probably for the last 2 to 3 weeks, is the basis of the situation is just a lack of communication on people's parts. Um, all the main players on my team had regular, consistent contact with Coach Gruden. Derek Carr, Mari Cooper, Marshawn Lynch, even Jordy Nelson. We got traded from the Green Bay Packers, and everybody else. But when the team tried to get in contact with Khalil Mack over here, they couldn't. AWOL, no show. Didn't show up in that one practice or workout this off season with the team. So it's like he wrote himself off for the roster at that point. I mean, you can't keep dead weight hanging around. I mean, when I looked at the situation deeper after having a conversation with Kylan off air that I just mentioned, yes, it was a breakdown in communication. What I do think needed to happen was a sit down between him and Coach Gruden to see what was going on. But that didn't happen. Phone calls not returned, text messages ignored, not showing up the way you're supposed to be with the team to show that you actually are looking forward to the season starting. That's unacceptable. That's not a, that's just showing that you're unreliable, can't be counted on. And as good as a player as he once was for us, that's a shame. It's nothing wrong with him either. He's not injured. He's not going through any criminal situations. He's not going through any of that. So it's no reason as to why he had to his departure from the team happened like it did under the circumstances. It didn't have to be like this, but it ended up being so. So I wish them well. And Chicago Bears, they've been dumpster fire for a long time. They haven't even been relevant in the NFL since the 80s. So they need somebody to, I guess, jumpstart their franchise and to bring some pride back into Chicago sports. But I wish them well on his next journey. But I believe we'll be fine because, yes, Coach Gruden hasn't coached football for a few years, but he has been a sports analyzer and he has been looking at football games from the opposite side of the field since he stopped coaching some years ago, which means that he sees things, in my opinion, and other Raiders fans that the team lacks, and he's bringing those qualities to the table with his coaching, which, in my opinion, has the team has improved since we got rid of the dumpster fire coach that we got rid of at the end of this past season. I strongly believe he knows what he's doing. I mean, we just came off a preseason that I didn't think was going to turn out like it did. Like I thought we was going to maybe win one game, and we won 3 of the 4. So he knows what he's doing. He's a quarterback coach, and people know that about him. And what my quarterback needed, Derek Carr, is a coach to really work with him, to really get him trained and stuff. And that's what he's doing. And from what I see, it's working well. People can talk crap about my team all they want, but at the end of the day, they can't say it to the team members' faces. So I believe we're going to be fine this season. I believe in my heart that we're going to be either a first or second seed in our division, the AFC West. We're going to have to fight them Chiefs, though. But I think we're going to be fine. I mean, we got some great draft picks for the past 6 months and some trades as well. We'll be fine. Kylie?
I think it's time to panic in Raiders Nation.
It's not time to panic.
The Raiders, no, okay, let me stop playing. The Raiders, let me be cautiously optimistic. Listen, the Raiders made this decision a long time ago. They just confirmed it now, you know. The Raiders last year, or when they allowed, when they signed Coach Gruden and brought him back, they chose to have, they picked John Gruden over Khalil Mack. You know, they wanted to secure the old Raiders. They wanted to bring the 90s, 2000 Raiders back. They wanted to bring the 90s. They wanted to bring the 90s back. They wanted to bring the old Raiders back. They wanted to.
Kylan, I can't hear you. You're far away and you keep going in and out.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
They wanted to bring the old Raiders back. You know, they made this decision a long time ago, unfortunately. When they signed Coach Gruden to that 8-year, $100 million contract, this is what you signed up for, Raiders fans. You chose John Gruden over Khalil Mack, over your 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and Amina says that, you know, it's okay, relax. This is what happens. I told her off air, old school coaching. This is not 2008. This is not 2001. This is 2018. And in 2018, you cannot bring in an old school coach without securing your star. what Khalil Mack did was what any astute person would do once they sign an old timer or bring back a legacy into your job. You want more money. Because here's the thing. If you can give the old dude money, that means you can definitely give me money. I've been warring for this franchise. I was playing when Derek Carr was injured and you gave Derek Carr his money. I'm just as important as Derek Carr. I'm your best defensive player. Who can argue with Khalil Mack being the best player on the Raiders? He is. Outside of Derek Carr, he's the best player on the Raiders. And now they traded him to Chicago. But they made this decision a long time ago, Raiders Nation. They made this decision a couple months ago when they signed Jon Gruden. I was telling the media that they were going to lose Khalil Mack. I've been telling Raiders fans for a while that y'all were going to lose Khalil Mack. And it was either going to be to the Packers or to the Bears. And I was right. You know, why? I can see this coming a long time ago. Why? Because just like the San Antonio Spurs, when you choose the old way over new players that are not like that, you're going to wind up screwing yourself. And this is what's going to happen to the Raiders. Now, defensively, Amita will tell you, we got 2 first-round picks. Any Raiders fan will say, we got 2 first-round picks, but you can't replace, you can't draft, and you can't sign a Khalil Mack. That's a once-in-a-generation talent. I mean, you can confuse yourself. You can hype yourself, say, relax, we'll be just fine. But see, a Khalil Mack is the difference between 10-6, 11-5, 12-4. That's a difference. That's a big difference. That's the difference between 12-4 and 8-8. And that's a Khalil Mack. And some of y'all will say, well, how can you say that? Because he's never been injured. He's always been there. He's always been there. Amina admits herself he's never been injured. A 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's never been injured. It's not like he's a J.J. Watt that can't stay healthy worth a hamburger. Like it's not like that. He's a great player. And now the Chicago Bears have a very, very stacked defensive line, and the Raiders have nothing. What do you have on defense if you're a Raiders fan? Tell me what you have on defense. Because I think you have nothing. You got some rookies. You got some old veterans. You got a good offense. But a lot of teams got a good offense and a bad defense. And having an average to good defense is the difference between, boom, being in the playoffs and sitting at home come December. Now, I'm not saying that the Raiders won't make it because there's a lot of teams in the AFC that mask the fact that they have a bad defense by having a really good offense. Looking at you, New England Patriots. Let's see, what's another good AFC team that has a really good defense or a really good offense that masks a weakness? The Denver Broncos, the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a lot of teams that mask the fact that they have a bad other side of the football with a great to stack other side of the football. Now, hopefully, Amari Cooper and Derek Carr and everybody else can flourish under Jon Gruden. But Jon Gruden is a defensive coach. This is a man that had Warren Sapp. So you telling me you can handle Warren Sapp, but you can't handle Khalil Mack, who's never been a problem? You can handle Warren Sapp, but you can't handle Khalil Mack. You can handle Warren Dunn, but you can't handle Khalil Mack. Kind of dumb. All because, see, pride comes before a fall. That's Bible. You know, it was Jon Gruden's pride that's going to screw the Raiders. He didn't want to give Khalil Mack his way. He didn't want to adapt to the new NFL. And he's going to screw the Raiders. And a lot of y'all can say, relax, we'll be all right. It's all going to be good. But I'm telling you right now, a Khalil Mack, like I said earlier, you keep this in mind. I had the Raiders at least going 10-6. Khalil Mack is going to be the difference between 10-6 and 9-7 for the Raiders. You know, Amina might not like me saying this, but it's realistic in facts. Like, Khalil Mack is the difference between 9-7 and 10-6. Khalil Mack is the difference between playoffs and being sitting at home again this year. You know, because Jon Gruden, he can draw them up with the best of them, but truth be told, he's not going to be on that field. He's not going to be there when Bruce Irvin and them and they don't have a pass rush, and every team is just passing all over them. You know, he's not on the field. John Gruden made a business decision for the Raiders that's going to screw them for the rest of their time. Raiders fans, you're going to look at this day, September 1st, 2018, as D-Day. Just like when the Eagles lost Reggie White, and a lot of Eagles fans look at that day that happened as D-Day. This is going to be your doomsday. September 1st, 2018. Your doomsday. Why? Because, like I said, Khalil Mack is the difference between playoffs and no playoffs. And some people may say, "Oh, how dare you say that?" You know, we've sucked with Khalil Mack on the team. That's very true. You've also made playoffs with Khalil Mack, a fully healthy Derek Carr, and an Amari Cooper on the team. Now, John Gruden's a good QB coach. He can definitely coach him up in the QB room. He'll definitely help Derek Carr. He'll definitely help Amari Cooper. But a defense without Khalil Mack, it's just like I said, 10-6. The difference between 10-6 and playoffs and 9-7, 8-8. Take it for what it's worth. Mina, you got a response?
No, because we just regurgitating stuff that we already talked about off here. We can move on to the next question.
All right, so sorry, y'all.
Did you purposely skip out on David West?
No, I didn't skip out on David West. So I totally forgot about him. Oh yes, David West also retired. And he was a great player. I'll start because I'm just gonna go on a rant about him. David West was a great player, a great power forward from Xavier. Not many basketball talents come out of Xavier, but the fact that he was a great player, great presence, finally got his couple rings, and was really great at what he does. And I wish him well as he retires. Go ahead, Amina. This is all for you. This is your player. I mean, he was very much a part of the New Orleans teams with Chris Paul and everything. Great player, great everyday player. Amina, go ahead.
David West. He's by far, in my opinion, one of the underrated players of the NBA from when he got drafted. David West was a member of the 2003 NBA draft class, which was by far one of the most insane draft years. One of the top insane ones. Have a lot of blockbuster people that came to the NBA that year. Had David West that we're talking about. LeBron James got drafted that year. Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and a few others. They all got drafted together. So that year, 2003, was special. Yes, he's from Xavier University. He was a two-time All-Star when he was with the Hornets, his first team. They drafted him, and he played for the Pacers a few years. Went to the Spurs for 1 year, and they traded him to Golden State, where he retired after being with us for 2 years. I gotta give it to him for being a dynamic power forward for us, working on the power forward station with Draymond Green, working that side of the floor. And he's special because he just got his two rings at the end of his career after being in the league for 15 years. He got a ring with us last year, he got a ring with us this year. And I gotta give it to him. Like this man has been reliable for the 2 years he was with us. I can't recall him ever being injured with us. So he has durability, respectful, and just an all around great player. Just about having fun, all about the business, and just being a good team sport. And I got nothing bad to say about him. Even if I wasn't a fan of the team, that man is going to be a warrior for life. And I gotta give it to him. He put his time and energy into this sport for 15 seasons, and he put personality out there on the field, not the field, the basketball court. He helped Draymond Green out as best he could and got him as far as he has gotten him on the power forward position. But I gotta give it to him for helping him out with that. So thank you, D West, for being a part of Warriors history. You're always going to be remembered as a great team player and all around player that knew how to play the game. So I wish you well with your endeavors in the future, and you'll be getting your ring next month.
All right, now better. Now we're on. That was part of the program where we deviated a little bit. Michigan State. The NCAA found that Michigan State did nothing wrong when it came to the Larry Nassar situation and everything that's been going on up there the last couple of years. Amina, your thoughts on that? Go ahead.
Jeremy, hold on.
Your
Can you hear
thoughts?
me?
Yeah, your thoughts on Michigan State. Go ahead.
I was shocked. Michigan State. We've been talking about the Big Ten schools for I don't even know how long we've been talking about the Big Ten schools with this mess going on. Several months, probably over a year. Um, I gotta give it to Michigan State. Wow, y'all were found to have nothing to do with Larry Nassar. So this was not an inside job that we all speculated and thought. So I was one of the people that said some not so nice things about Michigan State. So I want to give a public apology to you all and to make things right. You know, with being so used to hearing negative things about these damn schools out here that's been proven to be so, like Penn State's example, kind of figure it's kind of the same tune. But here it's not. And it was proven after this investigation that they had it's not. So that's even more show of character that the school had to not want to be associated with Larry Nassar with the deeds he was doing. But Larry Nassar, he's sitting in prison for the rest of his life, so it doesn't matter either way for him. But Michigan State, like y'all had some level of what's the word, decency and a conscience to not be involved in this mess with this dude. Like I gotta give it to y'all because of all the mess that's going on at college and university campuses across the country with the slew of situations for a school to come out and it be proven after an investigation that they had nothing to do with the stuff. It shows that there's a light at the tunnel with these higher education institutes when it comes to their sports staff or administration staff doing things. Like it goes to show that some of these places may not be as or fully as guilty as we would perceive it to be. So I got to give it to the people that investigated the matters and brought the truth to the table so we can know how to go forward and aren't having ill words to say about a school and they didn't have anything to do with what he did. So, Larry Nassar, screw you and enjoy your time in prison. Oh, yeah, and The women that you did what you did to, oh, they're doing fine in their lives. In fact, one of them may even be in the Olympics in 2020, Simone Biles. So hopefully, you get to see that on the little TV screens they have out at the prison you're at. Okay.
So, just it's hard to be so how to say this. It's hard when you know the truth. Last week I talked about Ohio State and the stupidity of that. I don't know how the NCAA. I'm gonna get on my high horse again. I apologize. The opinions that I'm about to reflect are the opinions of me, Kyron Watson, not the opinions of the Crossover Sports Podcast or anything or any other related entities. Now, with that out the way, the disclaimer out the way, what the heck is wrong with the NCAA? This is the same NCAA that, put Penn State over hot coals for having a sexual abuser running around that campus, but can't do anything to Michigan State. This is the same NCAA that just turned a blind eye to what was going on at Ohio State. But when it comes to the Big Ten, they can punish Penn State. They can punish my home state school, but they can't punish Michigan State or Ohio State. They can say Larry Nassar. I mean, listen, there's no comparison, but Larry Nassar was a serial predator. Jerry Sandusky was also a serial predator, but one of them was an Olympics doctor and was still working at Michigan State at the same time. So I think if you put both of those cases together, it's the same thing, but there's just as much national outrage about Larry Nassar as there was about Jerry Sandusky. Now, the difference between Jerry Sandusky and Larry Nassar is Jerry Sandusky did not sexually, and I'm not trying to make light of sexual assault, I'm just speaking facts. Jerry Sandusky didn't sexually assault Olympians. There's a difference here, the fact that Jerry Sandusky assaulted boys and who were not Olympians, who didn't have public power, right? Like he did Simone Biles and the rest of these women at Michigan State. And it's unfortunate that Penn State is the litmus test to how we judge these things now. It shouldn't be. But they can turn a blind eye to that, to what happened at Michigan State, which is worse, way worse than what happened at Penn State. Because 20 years, Jerry Sandusky's in jail, so is Larry Nassar. They're both serving time in a locked prison, probably both still getting their pensions from the state of Michigan and the state of Pennsylvania. But somehow, the NCAA can find that nothing happened at Michigan State, but Penn State, they can say that the football program was disastrous, that they had football over everything. And, we found out that in Michigan State, the basketball players were doing something. The football players have been doing something. The dang gymnastics doctor was doing something. And I just find it hard to believe that y'all can say, as the NCAA, nothing to see over here. But that school up in Collegeville, up in State College, PA? Yeah, yeah. Wag the finger at them. Yeah. Because you see, they hurt. They had a guy that was a serial predator, but the basketball program's dirty at Michigan State, somewhat. The football program is dirty at Michigan State. They have sexual assaults there too. Oh, and they had a serial predator on their gymnastics team. But you can give Penn State the literal definition of the death penalty, but nothing happens to Michigan State football. Nothing happens to Michigan State basketball. Nothing happens to Michigan State as a school besides the fact that their reputation's in the trash. Penn State loses scholarships, loses reputation, loses, standards and different things, and just came back. But Michigan State just gets to skate. Ohio State just gets to skate. The NCAA is a joke. I'm tired of this. Here's my hot take. The NCAA is a joke. They are very selective with who they punish. They can punish Penn State, but can't punish Michigan State. can't punish Ohio State, can't punish the other two big schools with sexual assault stuff happening, but they can punish Penn State. And some people will say, oh, you're from Pennsylvania, you have a bias towards Penn State. You know what? I do, but my bias has nothing to do with this. This is facts. I'm a sports journalist. This is facts. This is truth. I know truth. I know double standards. I know a lot of stuff when I see it. And what's going on at Michigan State and Ohio State and the fact that the NCAA can turn a blind eye to what's going on there, but Penn State, they literally gave the nearest version you can get to a death penalty. And the stuff that's going on at Michigan State and Ohio State is comparable at least to what happened at Penn State. And you say, literally in your report, matter of fact, every investigator at the NCAA, just like what happened at Ohio State, just like what I said last week should happen to the Ohio State Board of Trustees, every investigator that was a part of that team should be made to answer for the fact of why they think Michigan State athletics did nothing wrong if they had a freaking serial predator on the dang campus. How? But Penn State gets the death penalty. Penn State loses scholarship. Penn State loses reputation. Penn State, rightfully so or not, last year lost out on a championship opportunity because of their reputation. But Michigan State and Ohio State get the skate. I mean, I think that speaks for itself. Michigan State, Ohio State get the skate. Penn State still suffers. Why is that? No other reason for the fact of Michigan State and Ohio State football, some people would say, and their athletics program are bigger than Penn State. That's the only reason why Ohio State gets a slap on the wrist. That's the only reason why Michigan State gets a slap on the wrist. And some people might not like me saying that. I might be rude to get a chance I have of getting some type of job at the NCAA. But I don't really care because the NCAA needs to be called out. A lot of people that have more higher public personas than I do don't say nothing. So I'll say the NCAA is a joke. The NCAA needs to be abolished, and we need to get somebody else who can actually do a good job and not make double standard decisions on different things. Because it's ridiculous what's happening at Michigan State and Ohio State, and nobody gets punished, but Penn State loses everything. Just saying. Moving right along to our next question on a lighter note, the Packers have made Aaron Rodgers the highest paid quarterback ever in the NFL. Does he deserve it or not? Your thoughts. Amina, go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers and the face of their organization since he was drafted. He's got one ring from them, and almost 10 years that he's been with the team. I gotta reflect on the posting or article, whatever, that kind of shared. And in the caption he wrote, I don't know if word for word, I'm not looking at it right now, but he said something about health-wise he doesn't deserve it. And I gotta acknowledge that part. Health-wise he doesn't deserve it because Aaron Rodgers has periodically been unstable health-wise, where you don't know whether he's going to play a significant amount of games to truly make a difference for his team, which means that it's always backup quarterbacks on the Packers that are playing games for him. So I'm conflicted about why they gave this man this money. He has not played consistent enough to get this type of money, in my opinion. He's not a Tom Brady who plays game after game, year after year, which would mean that he has earned the money. I've seen it before in the NFL, especially last several years, where teams give their star quarterbacks these large contracts with this big money, and the quarterback, they may have been a good player before they got all this money, but they get this money and they just completely fall off the horse and they never get back on, or they do, but they get back on the horse when it's too late. So I hope that this decision that the Packers made doesn't backfire on them, where Aaron Rodgers just completely decides to say, "Hey, I got my money. I ain't got to play really no more." I hope he actually continues to play at the level that Packers fans know and love from him, and that he makes do with the money. Like, just don't take the contract, don't sign it, and you're not gonna play to earn it. I think it should be some type of non-guarantee clause in these contracts for these quarterbacks. But some of them, like I said, they be getting these contracts and they don't do nothing after them. They just get the money and leave. So prove to the Packers this season that you have earned the money. So it's not a witch hunt out for you on social media and them angry at you, especially if you get an injury this season, because you just coming off of an injury, by the way, too. You're just coming off of a busted up collarbone, and you was out for a while. So yeah, I don't know why they gave this man this money right now. I think this is bad timing looking at it, but I may be wrong. But right now, I don't think it was a good move to give him this money. They could have gave him a little bit, but the amount they gave him is just it's ridiculous. Just make do with the money they gave you. Don't get injured. Just play the whole season, so quarterbacks don't have to represent you. I mean, backup quarterbacks. But Kylan can say what you gotta say.
You read my mind. You know, I've been, and Amina knows this, I've been a proponent. The people up here in Syracuse, most of them know this. I am not a proponent of paying hurt players. You know, players that are consistently injured. I'm not a proponent of that. You know, I'd be I'd be a bad GM because most GMs they make the decision off of emotion and being tied being tied up by these agents who say my client will sit out and not play a game if you don't give him the money. You know, I think like Amina, I agree with Amina. I think Aaron Rodgers' play says he deserves it. His health says he doesn't. You know, she stole that line from me. Uh, you know, he has
I gave you credit for it, though.
he's a great thank you. He's a great player when healthy. Much like Kyrie Irving. Great player when healthy. Actually, they both have the same amount of rings. One. You know, and both are very dynamic. He really does compare very favorably to Kyrie Irving. Great player, great talent when healthy. It's the same thing. But the difference is Kyrie Irving doesn't have 200 to 300-pound men tackling him every Sunday, every time he plays. See, the Packers gave Aaron Rodgers their money, but they didn't. It's not like they put money into the offensive line. See, the reason why Aaron Rodgers is always injured isn't because he's an injury-prone player. It's because the man does not have an offensive line. Maybe he should give some of that money back to the Packers so they can get an offensive line so he can last. He's 33 years old. He's not going to last any longer, especially with the bad offensive line that he has. He has some weapons. You know, he has Jimmy Graham now, but Aaron Rodgers needs time. Jimmy Graham needs time to get open. Jimmy Graham is not what he used to be, you know. Middle linebackers have adapted. When Jimmy Graham was hot, nobody could cover him. These middle linebackers now are hybrid middle linebackers. They can cover tight ends, unless your name is Rob Gronkowski. They haven't figured that one out yet. But, you know, I think that this is a what have you done for me lately league, and you can't be making dang near $100 million a year and only have one Super Bowl appearance. You cannot make $100 million a year and be injured midway through the season again. You know, you cannot be you cannot be that. You know, you are Aaron Rodgers, one of the top stars in this league. And unless you're telling me that, you know, that you're giving that money back so they can have an offensive line and get more people around you, you are the $100 million man. You're the highest paid quarterback right now in the NFL. You need to earn your money. You need to show the Packers, show me, prove me wrong that you can actually be healthy a whole season, because I don't think you can, especially with the offensive line that you have. You know, I think that if the Packers get into the playoffs, you can play, you can be dynamic, but you, Aaron Rodgers, much like Tom Brady, cannot cover up all the weaknesses of your team. Much like Tom Brady had to do with the Eagles, when it came down to it, the fact that the Patriots didn't have a defense destroyed them. The fact that the Packers don't have an offensive line and also don't have a defense will destroy them too, especially if you're injured, which is always. You know, you sat behind Brett Favre for a very, very long time, so you do have some years that you don't have as many years as a quarterback as somebody like Ben Roethlisberger or Eli Manning have, but you're still 33 years old. You're still slowing down. It's getting later and later that you can keep recovering from these injuries. You're not in your 20s anymore. You know, Aaron Rodgers needs to prove that he can be healthy. But if he can't, then he doesn't deserve the money, and the Packers need to think about trading him, especially once he gets to 35, 36, and it's shown that he can't play no more. If that happens, depending on his injuries, they need to find a way to get him out from under that contract and do something else. All right, so somebody else, it was a good week for NFL, for offensive NFL players. Somebody else who got their money, who we did not talk about, OBJ, Odell Beckham. That's not on here, but we need to make some time. So Odell Beckham got his money as well. He's got a $95 million contract. He is also the highest paid wide receiver. So, Amina, does he deserve to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL right now? Go ahead.
I didn't hear anything about it. When this come up?
Oh, so Odell Beckham, the Giants wide receiver, you know, OBJ.
Mm-hmm.
He got $95 million a year from the Giants. He got a new contract as well.
Giants. Other than the Eagles, if the Eagles didn't exist, I would say yes. But because the Eagles do exist, the Giants are basically, I think, going to be second seeds. No, especially after the season that the Giants came off of, just about December-ish, January-ish. No. Giants, they've been struggling the last few years competing with the Eagles. No. Does he have to earn it? Like I said with the previous question, yes. Stop giving these players these contracts and this money, and they haven't shown up and showed out. Giants, y'all gotta make it to a playoffs in order for me to say that he deserves this money. I hope this doesn't backfire on y'all, because y'all just coming off of a gutter season. Like, seriously, like, I know y'all trying to rebuild, but just like with the Packers, I think this was bad timing. The NFL, they stay giving money to these players. It's bad timing. Like, it don't make sense. I don't know what's going on. None of it makes sense to me. He just has to earn it, please. Like, try not to have such a horrible season that made you the laughing stock of your state. Giants, please do better. Just earn this money, dude. Put some effort into the season, because y'all was horrible last season. How we can go?
I think OBJ is funny. Me and a guy who needs to come on this program. He's a huge Giants fan. He's my fellow Syracuse grad student, Danny Booth. Once again, he's getting shouted out on this podcast. He would say that Odell Beckham deserves the money because, They have a lot of money, and he needed the money, and they won't be paying Eli Manning much longer. And this is the point I made to him and any Giants fan that will listen this week. You giving that man this money, great, he earned the money, right? But at the same time, you won't have a quarterback in a minute because I'm not saying something's going to happen to Eli Manning. But Eli Manning is another quarterback that's in his 30s and about to retire. After you give Odell Beckham that money and after Eli Manning retires, what do you have behind Eli Manning? So then you're paying a wide receiver $90+ million a year, and you have nobody to throw the ball to him. Odell Beckham, for as great as he is, he does not throw balls to himself. He's got to have a quarterback to throw him balls. And Eli Manning is a great quarterback. I hate saying it, but he is. And he is great. But in a few years, he won't be throwing Odell Beckham them balls anymore. It'll be somebody else. Now, would that be David Webb or whoever else is behind David Webb? I don't know. But the Giants have a terrible QB situation if something happens to Eli Manning. They proved that last year. The Steelers have a bad QB situation if something happened to Ben Roethlisberger. I'm just giving examples. It's not about them. The Packers have a bad situation if something happens to Aaron Rodgers. Eli Manning is the glue that holds that team together. He's the reason why Odell Beckham can get $90 million. But eventually, the Giants will have to move on from Eli Manning. And they'll have somebody else throwing Odell Beckham them balls. He might not get what he wants, what he earns. You might not see them stats that you're used to seeing because he has Eli Manning as his quarterback. And I'll say what I told Danny, and I'll say what I tell Giants fans up here in Syracuse. Y'all cannot be so hyped about this contract because it's not about the $90 million today. You can be happy now, but 2 years from now when Eli Manning isn't the quarterback, you're not going to be happy about that $90 million contract because that's money that's not going into getting you a quarterback. That's money that's not going to help your offensive line. That's money that's allocated to him that's going to keep you from keeping some defensive players that you need. The Giants are going to have a great player in Odell Beckham Jr. But eventually, they're not. They're going to be, a lot of people will be saying they wasted money on Odell Beckham and they won't have a quarterback. He deserves this money right now in 2018. But in 2020, y'all might be singing a different tune. Moving right along to our next topic. Colin Kaepernick scored a victory when the arbitrator decided that his trial, he could move his collusion case to trial and did not grant the NFL what they wanted by dismissing the case. Amina, your thoughts on that?
Colin Kaepernick's about to own the NFL. He's about to own the NFL. I wonder how much money he's getting. I want some. he should write me a check when he get the big money. Because I've been doing all this supporting for him for the last 2 years. I need some money. He about to own Donald Trump too and Mike Pence because they was part of this conspiracy too. So after he gets money from the NFL, he need to move right on to the tuna and get money from them too. And for those that don't know, the NFL has had this beef with Colin Kaepernick since 2016 preseason. I think it was when Colin Kaepernick started his movement and it gained national and eventual international attention. And ever since then, nearly 3 years later, here we are still talking about it. For those who don't know, the NFL has a lawsuit, a collusion lawsuit against them from Colin Kaepernick. And that collusion lawsuit is for the owners of these teams conspiring to not sign him because of who he is and what his movement is about. And the NFL tried to put in paperwork for a request to have the collusion lawsuit thrown out and to go on as business as usual. But an arbitrator this week recently, within the last few days, has thrown out the NFL's request, which is another step forward in the victory for Colin Kaepernick. And now his collusion suit will go before a court case in a trial before a judge with a jury panel. This is a great step in his collusion lawsuit. And I feel as though he's going to come up on top and NFL is going to come off at the bottom just in time for the NFL's 100th anniversary in 2020. And a whole lot of stuff is going to be going on over the next 2 to 5 years with the NFL. The NFL's anniversary, like I said, is in 2 years. The CBA is coming up, so we all feel as though a strike is coming, possibly still. Colin Kaepernick, he's about to get his money from the NFL. The NFL has been exposed for what they are and who they are and what they represent. So the NFL has a lot of dominoes that are going to be falling off the table real soon. Sooner than later. So, Colin Kaepernick, get your money, sir. And you ain't got to never play football again. The NFL, y'all gonna pay. Y'all been behind the times for too many decades. Y'all not progressive. Y'all not innovative. Y'all somewhere stuck in old timeville. Y'all need to sit and watch how the NBA is functioning, especially under Commissioner Adam Silver and how progressive he's got in the league. I don't know what's going on with Roger Goodell with the NFL being the commissioner. It's not happening. But the NFL, I don't see them lasting much longer. Who knows how long a strike will last? That's coming, this brewing that we all think is going to be. It could be season, could be a few months. We don't know, but it's coming though. And Colin Kaepernick, I need you. Kylan needs you. We all need you to break your silence. You have not done that at all since you started this movement. We need you to have a serious heart-to-heart press conference for your supporters that have been by your side for the last 2 going on 3 years. We need you to start doing things in the community, at colleges, universities, high schools. Start doing commencement addresses. The class of 2019 is coming next in the spring. So try to speak at graduation ceremonies for that. Try doing things in the community for children, for social justice. Start groups and organizations for that. You're sitting on top of money from the 49ers, and you're also going to be sitting on this collusion lawsuit money. So I will pray and hope that you use it well, and I feel as though you are. But this is your time, man. You own the NFL, so go out, show out, do what you want to do, but just be productive and positive at the same time. But the day we all been waiting for Colin Kaepernick is coming. He's about to get that money, and the judge and jury, they ain't gonna be stupid to not give it to him. Pity for the NFL.
Now let's be clear and fair. He doesn't own the NFL just yet. It's just
I'm not talking about like own. I'm talking about he's going to.
It's just moving the court. The NFL score 1 for Colin Kaepernick, 0 to the NFL. I think this is the first time in a while And I can actually say that for the first time, I think the NFL is unprepared for what might happen. This might be the one time that the NFL did not think, they didn't think that Colin Kaepernick would fight them. They thought that, they could just blackball him. He wouldn't get help. He'd be another one just like Tom Brady, just like Plexico Burris, just like many other NFL players fighting a losing battle. But they forgot that my brother is a smart man, a smart cookie, and he decided to checkmate. And I know I've been saying this for a little bit, but Colin Kaepernick, you played it right, man. I thought that your silence would just be detrimental, and it has been a little bit. But you know what? You played it right, man. You said I'm not going to put any quotes out there because you were thinking, and you got some good legal advice. You were thinking about the ultimate checkmate, suing the NFL on collusion. I don't know the evidence you got. I don't know how you got it. I know you've been deposing people like John Elway, Pete Carroll, and many others. I don't know how you got that evidence, man. But you keep on, man, because in the eyes of the judge, you went and you were about to use their system against them, man. Oh, just a brilliant checkmate, my man. You got the help. You used your resources. You saved your money. You've been putting the action. You've been letting your actions speak louder than your words. And I'm just so happy you didn't give them no evidence. I mean, are you saying something?
He's about to be the second black man to ever finish the criminal justice system. The first black man that ever did that was O.J. Simpson. This is funny. He got to be the second black man to ever get over and use the criminal justice system against him. He about to turn the whole system out. I'm looking forward to how this will end.
I don't know how he did it. I don't know what, but you know what? I can admit,
And he's going to live to tell the tale of that.
I'm an intellectual black man. I can admit when I'm wrong. I thought that by now, because it's your third year, you should have been talking. You should have been doing something. But I can admit when I'm wrong, man. You knew things that I didn't know. You knew that, I guess, that you were about to get them for collusion. I guess you were looking at what President Trump was saying and what Pence was saying and what Jerry Jones was saying. And you just you found yourself a lawyer that was willing to fight the NFL and had the checkmate to you, checkmate to Mark Garagos, and all the other lawyers that are on your team that are way smarter than I am. Honestly, I can't wait. I can't wait for the evidence. I'm so looking forward to this trial because I can't wait for the evidence to come out. I can't wait to write articles about it. I can't wait for this evidence to come out. It's going to be a good NFL season because all this is going to be unfolding while the NFL is playing, while the Eagles are out here being Super Bowl champions. So right now, I got to make it about the Eagles. Right now, the Eagles are Super Bowl champions, the wokest team in the NFL, and on the other side of the NFL, in the legal court, Colin Kaepernick is maybe about to turn. You have to be legally correct here. Maybe about to turn the NFL to the KNFL, Kaepernick's NFL. Because I don't think they knew what they did when they decided to mess with this man. But Colin Kaepernick is a smart man. He has some very good adopted parents who probably taught him how to fight as well.
They got the right one there.
I don't know. Maybe it was your adopted mother, because Kaepernick is not your, it's not your given name. That's your adopted name, I believe. Amina can correct me if I'm wrong. That's his adopted name, right? That's not his real legal name.
Yeah, his adoptive parents are the Kaepernicks. They adopted him.
Okay, good. Yeah. So the Kaepernicks have really helped this man. I don't know the legal advice. I don't know who got him in touch with Mark Garagos, but whoever did, checkmate to you, man. Checkmate. Because, like we said, I'm not a legal person. Maybe I'll get Courtney up in here to explain how this stuff works. But, I have nothing else to say, man. Go for you, man. I hope that you take this. And even if you lose, man, I wish you luck on all your endeavors. I hope you write books. I hope you get movies because I mean, what they did to you, whether you can prove it or not, man, it's just good that you got them in the court, and now they'll think twice about doing this to anybody else. You know, if nothing else, if you lose this case, if nothing else, you showed them that black men are willing to fight, especially when we know we've been wronged. I am just so proud of this man. You know, there's nothing else I can really say about it. I mean, I'm just shocked that, you know, he's prevailed in the legal system, and it's not over yet. You know, so moving right along to the next one. On the
Did
baseball
you
diamond.
I know me and Trey talked about it, but then you said you wanted to talk about mental health yourself.
Yes, the depression. So those that don't know, I may have missed the show. Amina told me that they had talked about it in a previous episode. Well, that's my fault for not paying attention and listening to the previous episode, so I apologize. But you know, Nate Robinson, Kevin Durant, DeMar DeRozan have come out and said that they've been depressed around the time that the NFL was having their requiem with depression. A couple years later, here's the NBA with people like the players I mentioned coming out and saying that, you know, they are depressed, even though they have the world at their feet. They play in the most progressive sport in the world. They still have problems. And Nate Robinson was the one who said that the NBA life, not the NBA itself, but NBA life caused him to be depressed. Because, you know, he had money, he was having a big contract, but once he lost it, once he stopped playing, once the money stopped flowing, he became depressed. And it got me thinking that, you know, we put a lot on these basketball players, just specifically these basketball players, right? They're in a progressive sport. Some of them, we expect them to speak, and they get a lot of money to put a ball in a hoop. And it makes me wonder, like, once that money stops, look at that Nate Robinson, once that money stops, I can see how you can get depressed because, you know, you're used to being promoted, especially Nate Robinson, who's a tiny guy who could fly. When you're not getting your money anymore, when the NBA has decided that, you know, because everybody gets too old to play a sport, you are depressed. I mean, and he said, like, the NBA life, living that life, caused him to be depressed. And, you know, I have to say that, you know, I really am shocked that, you know, I never thought about it. And, you know, I really didn't think about it. And, you know, I think that the NBA has done a good job of being able to have players like that, have depression funds and take care of their players. But, you know, Nate Robinson really has me thinking that, you know, this life that these basketball players live, that we glorify, and hip hop life and all this stuff, we really don't understand them. And, you know, it's great now that DeMar DeRozan and them have been out saying, I'm depressed, and the NBA has done a lot to help in the mental health. But that just speaks to athletes as a whole. How many other athletes, black or otherwise, just suffer in silence as they're depressed? You know, depression is real. You can't pray it away, as in the black community we like to say. You can't just deal with it. You know, we have to really think about this. And our athletes are a very underserved community, just like our veterans, because we look at these players, as some people do, as glorified rich people just that make money off of a child's game. And we need to stop looking at them like that. We need to look at the person behind the athlete, because it's the person behind the athlete that needs the most help. It's not the athlete. It's the person behind the athlete that needs the most help. You know what I mean? DeMar DeRozan is just a persona on the basketball court. It's not DeMar DeRozan, the player, that needs help. It's DeMar DeRozan, the person outside of the basketball court, that needs help. It's Nate Robinson, the guy outside of the basketball court, that needs help. You know, it was Brandon Marshall, the guy outside of the football field, that needed help. You know, and we really need to do more for our athletes, because, you know, like I said, a lot of us, not me, but a lot of us just look at them as glorified monkeys that do stuff for our entertainment. You know, and I know that you know that we had a thing earlier with monkeying this up. We're not going to get into that today. We're going to leave Florida politics in Florida, leave that alone. But, you know, I really do think that we need to do more for our athletes, and I'm happy that the NBA is leading on that. Mina, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I gotta give it to you for mentioning that piece about how we don't know really who these players are. I mean, any given person, like you're a Sixers fan, so you pretty much know. Um, you may know personal details about the life of like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, Markel Fultz, and all these people that are currently on your team. You may know what public information about them is known, but as far as their intimate lives, if you're not like closely following them, like on their actual Instagram pages or Twitter feeds or Facebook pages, you really don't know their inner thoughts, feelings, and whatnot. So that's a good piece that you mentioned. Like how you said Demar De, Demar Derozan, how he has a persona that he has on the court, and then there's the Demar Derozan in real life. That's true. Like we don't know what any. We don't even know what the very people in our personal lives battle every day and every night unless they personally tell us. And that says a lot. Like you can know someone your whole life. I tell people this. You can know someone your whole life and not truly know them. You could be living with someone in the same house or the same apartment and not truly know them. You can work with somebody at at the business you own or a job you work at and truly not know that person. You can volunteer your time with somebody at an organization or a religious house of worship and you truly don't know that person. You don't know someone until they start talking. What people portray is typically not who they really are. That's why they got the saying, social media gangsters, studio gangsters, the rap artists that make it seem as though they came from a hood life or narcotics, gang life, and alcohol and prison life. But when you go research your life, or they came from a situation where they went to private schools, they had two parents in the house, they lived in the suburbs. It's a persona, and we have to understand that we have to separate the two. How our favorite players, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, gymnastics, volleyball, tennis, golf, whatever sports or sport you enjoy in life, your favorite player or players are not who you think they are. That's why when a certain when individual players say or do things and it is breaking news, people like I'm so shocked. I'm like, why? Like they're humans. It was bound to, something was bound to happen with a player sooner or later. But that's important. The NFL needs to expand finances every year for mental health services for their players and all the major sports, minor sports, but especially the major ones, which is basketball, football, hockey, and baseball. They need to invest the finances every year for their players for mental health services. Because when you play professional sports, you don't get no health care insurance from that. You don't get benefits like you at a regular job. These people typically get out of these leagues with nothing, no pension, no social security, nothing. So the least the leagues that they play in can do is invest in these players' mental health. Because if they don't have good health in their minds, they're not going to have good health in the fields or the courts, which means they're not going to have a good life, period. So it's good that players in the NBA, whether they're retired or not, from the old days or the new days, are coming forward to express what is going on with them because it puts a human connotation on it. It puts context of the fact that they yes, they are our favorite players, but at the end of the day, they are humans with human situations. They have spouses, children, parents, siblings, nieces, nephews, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents. They're somebody's neighbor, somebody's friend. So they are humans, and we have to put a human side to their situations and not just think, oh, they're this machine that wins all these titles. They're this. They put up stats. They're not robots. They're humans. They leave it. They breathe just like us. They're born just like us. They die just like us, and we have to understand that they're not some type of extreme supernatural force that has zero emotions or feelings. So investing in their mental health could greatly impact the leagues, especially the NFL. Y'all the first ones that need to line up with mental health services, doing all this goddamn stuff every off season. Lord, but outside of that, it's a good thing. It's and actresses and actors and people in the music industry, they're also breaking out into the mental health sector. So that's good. Taraji P. Henson, I even see, is starting something with health, mental health. So it's a good thing. And I'm glad people are finally talking about it, especially the black community, because it's been taboo for way too long and it needs to stop. We have to acknowledge these situations and deal with them head on, or they're going to continue and they're going to continue to brew until it gets worse. And before you know it, the violence in the inner cities get worse. If people truly had proper and well sounding mental health services at their disposal, I can guarantee you that the violence rates in this country will go down. I can guarantee you that the incarceration rates will go down. I can guarantee you that people's family structures wouldn't be destroyed. I can guarantee you that the schools around the country, as far as the public and charter schools, I can guarantee those will start becoming peaceful places for children to be at, amongst other things. So start investing in mental health services because they're needed, especially for these athletes. Starting with the NFL, they need it. They don't want it. They need it. Serious drop, 100%. If Kyler has anything else to say,
Nah, I mean we gotta move right along to our second question. Football's coming back next week, and we have the preview. We are your marquee destination for some Eagles next week. The Eagles officially bring the banner to Lincoln Financial Field in South Philly, and against the Falcons Thursday, 8:20, 8:30, somewhere in there. They're gonna play the Falcons. Football is back. Oh, Amina, your thoughts on this preview? Eagles versus Falcons, the first game of the season. Who are you going with and why?
it's not a biased statement, but I'm going with the Eagles to win this game to kick off their season. The Falcons with Matt Ryan over there, I don't know what they're doing. Falcons. They are coming off of a 0-4 preseason. Their defense is horrible. Their offense is horrible. Their whole team is falling apart, and they ain't even the season ain't even start. Um, Eagles, they're coming off of a 1-3 preseason. They had a little fight in them, especially during their game with the Patriots. Even though they lost, the Eagles lost that. They had a fighting chance, so they still have the energy that I see from when they was playing this previous season up until the Super Bowl. So I don't have a score that I predict. I don't think it's going to be a massive game where the scores is going to be high. I think it's just going to be a clean, honest game, just regular. But I do believe the Eagles are going to win. I think the Falcons are going to be sent back to Atlanta with a loss. The Eagles are going to put their banner up. But only God knows. We'll see when they play on Thursday. But like I said, I think the Eagles are going to win. And Eagles fans should be happy.
Yeah, I think this should be no surprise to anybody. I think the Eagles will win, but I believe that it'll be a hard fought victory. It'll be a lot closer than most people think. I think that the score will be as close as it was the last time they played each other. I have the score 24-21. The Eagles, it'll be a little bit of a high scoring affair. The Eagles right now, they should be healthy. They're going to be missing out Sean Jeffrey, the number one wide receiver, but they should get Nelson Aguilar, Corey Clement, Jay Ajayi back. And I think that once they get healthy on the offensive line, once Darren Sproles, Jason Peters, and all of them play again, that the Eagles will be good. Now, a lot of people are like, well, the Eagles look sucky. It's because they're missing a lot of their weapons. And they don't. You don't let all your weapons play in the preseason anyway. So I think Nick Foles will have a good game. I think he will get 3 touchdowns. I think he gets the start over Carson Wentz because this first game will be Nick Foles' swan song, and then after that, Carson Wentz will assume playing responsibilities once again in week 2 or week 3. But I think the Eagles will win. This will be Nick Foles' swan song with the Eagles. They'll have maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns. They will look like the Eagles of old. On defense, they'll be getting after the ball with Fletcher Cox in them. But the Eagles they'll be missing Nigel Bradham as he serves his 1-game suspension for whatever he did over the offseason. I think that the Falcons will be able to take advantage of the fact that the middle of the field will be open because Nigel Bradham isn't there. He usually takes care of the tight ends, and Atlanta does have some tight ends that are really good and can take advantage of this. So I think that it'll come down to the last 2 minutes like it did when they played each other in the playoffs. But the Eagles will prevail. 24-21 is my score. I think Nick Foles has like 2 touchdowns. It might even be higher than that. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the Eagles decide to blow them out like they blew out the Vikings. But I believe it'll be a closer game than most people think. 24-21 Eagles. Eagles are 1-0. They'll take advantage of Atlanta's weak offensive line and have like 3 or 4 sacks. They will not give Julio Jones and Matt Ryan a lot of time to connect. And the Eagles' secondary is much stronger than it was last year. They have the addition of Sidney Jones, who will be the X factor for the Eagles. He will be a comeback player of the year this year. He is going to do a lot this year. And he's going to help the Eagles where they were weak at as far as them up fakes and everything else that was getting them. And Jalen Mills is coming to his own as well. I believe that this Eagles team is hungry for another Super Bowl. Eagles 24-21, they prevail. Watch the matches in the trench and watch the battle in the secondary between Julio Jones, Jalen Mills, and Sidney Jones. All right, so we didn't do Matt's baseball updates. Let's just do that with Kylan. The Phillies are 2 games out of first place. They just had a walk-off home run. The Yankees just got Andrew McCutchen. Shout out to all you Yankees fans that needed another reliable bat. You got the Evil Empire is back. It's college football season. We'll be watching on that. We'll be having some stuff to report on college football. So to everybody under the sound of my voice, Amina and everybody that will listen later, start watching college football. To all the people that are part of this show. Even if you don't watch, get the stats. Know who the players are to watch. We will be starting to talk about college football, college basketball again as it's September 1st, so it's college football season. So with that is unless I'm missing anything, Amina can tell me. I believe I've covered everything. So that is our 99th episode. It is in the books. What I didn't say that I said last week, please share this podcast. Usually if you are a good thing, if you have a good thing, and I think this podcast is a good thing, it'd be great to share. So why don't you share it? Share with your friends. Share on Facebook. Retweet it on Twitter. Send that email. Forward that email to the sports fan that you know at work. John in accounting could definitely use another podcast to listen to. Or Jen from accounting could definitely use a lot more stuff. Or Peter in HR. Who just pass it along, man. You never know. Help us grow as a podcast. Definitely hit that share button. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you to Amina, like I said, to Trey. When Trey and I first started this, man, we didn't think that we would get 99 episodes in, and here we are. We're at the 99th episode. God is blessed. We have episode 100 coming to you next week. I don't know what day it'll be on. Generally, I say when the day is, but next Saturday I have to cover a Syracuse football game, so I don't know if it'll be on Saturday or Sunday. But we will definitely be doing something. Episode 100 next weekend. Definitely enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Enjoy that last weekend before school starts, kids. Have a great and safe weekend. And thank you to Amina for coming through, as always, and being here. And definitely, like I said, share the podcast, subscribe to the channel. Get up on the college football. That's your homework. It's football season. Basketball's coming back. Thank you all. Deuces.
Have a great week.